So greetings to you all. Today we are having a very interesting topic. The name of the topic is Education a Vision. Now this is a subject of importance these days because people today have lost track of what real education is. I have also come to understand education through the experience I have gone through. And it all started long back. One day afternoon, when I was working in my room, my professor came to my room and said he was trying to teach his daughter mathematics. And as was his habit, he kept on asking her, "Have you understood?" And then she stopped my professor and said, "What do you mean by understood?" So my professor told her, "You go and play." And then he came there, then we were discussing, how do you explain to a 10-year-old girl what it means to say, what is education? What is mean to say you have understood? So then we discussed at that time, and then the sort of answer we came with was to say, if you can express in your own words, then you have understood. That means you don't have to refer to a book and say it is said in the book like this or somewhere else, but you on your own can say in your own words what is learned. So this was our first beginning. And then I went on, trying to understand what real education could be. And there are a few encounters which I came across in my life, which made me understand it better. And that is what led me to an understanding of why a vision. The encounters which I had, one of them is this. A few of my students who had passed out came back to me one day and we were discussing. And in the course of the discussion, one of the students asked me, "Sir, I have always copied from my friend. And I always got more mark than my friend. Why do you still insist that we should not copy?" Very blunt, straightforward question. And I was a bit surprised because I have been trying to tell my boys what could be a real understanding of education and so on. And then only I realized how difficult it is to really get into and understand what real education is. So that day again I tried to explain to him that all that he has gained is only to copy. In the sense he has become a Xerox machine. He is no better than a Xerox machine. He has not learned anything by which he can apply that knowledge to really do something. And the handicap he now then has is that he always has to carry his friend along. So that only if he does, he can copy. So he became incapable of the purpose for which he came into the institution. He came to the institution to become an engineer, but he has now only become a copy master. That is where again I wanted to understand and explain to the students with clarity what is the real education. And another day I was sitting in my room, one of my students walks in, and he has a very serious question to ask me. He said for the holidays he had gone home, and there he met a senior friend of his. And the senior friend told him, "See, life is a misery after the college days. So if you want to enjoy the college days." So my student asked me, "Sir, is it true? Is it true that we have to enjoy during the college days and later life is a misery?" So I had to really be careful in giving my answer. So I told him, maybe what your friend said is true. Because he enjoyed during his college days. Obviously, he did not do very well in his academics. He probably did not get that good marks in his subjects. So obviously, he did not get a very good job. Obviously, his life is probably a misery. Because he has not learned to face life. Whereas, if you can make your life a real hard work and misery, probably, let us initially call it misery, he would probably get extremely good marks. Having worked very hard, he has developed a better ability to face life. And then definitely his life later also would be better. The way to look at it is, should you make your 4 years a misery or should you make your rest of your life a misery? If you make your 4 years in the college a little miserable, you will have a wonderful life later. Now then, interestingly we have a third option. The third option is, if you can make learning process an enjoyable process, then you can enjoy during your college days and also enjoy afterwards. And then of course, these two stories tell us, how the vision is not clear. And because the vision is not clear, how they did not approach the learning process properly. Now there is a story of 3 stonecutters working in front of the site where a temple was being constructed. And a passerby asked them, what are you doing? The first stonecutter says, I am making a living. I have a family to look after. So I work here, get my pay, I look after my family. The second stonecutter says, I am cutting stones. And the third one says, I am building a temple. It is obvious that the one who knows that he is constructing a temple will even choose the stones with care. Because it has to go into a structure which has to stand the test of time. So when it is to stand the test of time, he will obviously give care to choose even a good stone. Not that any stone he gets in the hand, he will cut to shape. Whereas the first man, since he is not interested about the work, he is only worried about his family. He may do a good job, he may not do a good job. So, it is obviously very clear that a vision or your real understanding of what the goal is makes your approach to the problem or the job at hand better. So it is necessary that we have a vision to really make our student days a good one. And you have come to the college to be a good student. And let us see how that becomes possible and what vision of yours can make it a very, very fruitful experience. So the next slide, it says, transform an ordinary person to an ideal person as the goal of education. Now I should also tell you at this juncture that the way I proceed giving this lecture also will give you an idea of how to really learn a subject. We have first asked the question, what is a vision? Now we are stating a vision. And the vision precisely states, transforms an ordinary person to an ideal person. So this is sort of a mnemonic, which now then opens up the whole lot of ideas. So, and here precisely stated, that means, even in your learning process, you will see definitions precisely stated. But the definition actually is not what it is. That definition is a mnemonic or a thing which helps you remember the whole concept behind that definition. So then what we do is we have to look into the understanding of each word which is used in the definition. So here it says transformation. That means presently a particular condition exists and we have to change that condition and reach a new condition. And that is what we understand as a transformation. Next word we use is an ordinary person. You as now we will recognize as the ordinary person. And you, as you pass out of the institution, we have to consider as the ideal person. And then we should understand what that ideal person is like, or what are the qualities he has got, what are the abilities he has got, and what is the transformation required. So let us see and understand each of these terms a little better. So we here define an ideal person more precisely. Ideal person is one who is confident each moment of his life. And the key words here I have marked as confident and moment, each moment. Now, that means we have to now understand these two words very carefully, and let us then go to the next slide. So here we have explained each moment. Normally we have a concept that we are living continuously. We existed yesterday, we are going to be there tomorrow is the sort of overall picture we have. But honestly, we actually live only one moment. And that moment is this present now. And this is the only moment we live. And if you carefully look at how we live this moment, we can view it in two ways. One is that from the past we are walking into the future. And that the walking process is the present. Present actually do not exist. Present is a continuous transition. It can be seen the other way also. The future opens up and then becomes the past. So I perceive the future opening up and becoming the present and then going into the past. And in that process what I do is I respond or react to each instant which the future opens up in the present. So that is how we live. And let us now understand what it means to say confident. Confident means responding in the right way in any given situation. So each moment as it opens up, we have to respond to the new situations. Every moment a new situation is arising in front of us. We might have had such situations earlier, in which case we find it easy to respond. And if it is a new situation, is where we need our abilities to face that new situation. That is the first part. That is, we should understand how to respond in the right way. And then the second part is, we should have the ability to behave the way we want to behave, or the way we have understood that we should behave. And this aspect is many times not very well understood. That the skill for acting is very important. In India we have all sort of small silly stories. But these silly stories in the right occasion gives you really profound and deep understanding of things. So this skill part is what is explained in the story of the cat and the rats. The rats were being troubled by the cat. So the cats had a general body meeting and they discussed it threadbare, and then they came to the conclusion, what? You bell the cat. So when the cat comes, we know the cat is coming and we can all go and hide. But the problem was, who has the skill to bell the cat? So the knowledge was perfectly alright. There is nothing wrong with the knowledge. But the skill to implement the knowledge was not there. So this is where it is clearly understood that to be confident, you need not only the knowledge, but also the skill to implement the knowledge. So next, this slide explains the basics of action. What is the skill required by which you can carry out the required action? So the real process is like this. We are faced with a situation, we use our knowledge, analyze, and the discrimination we have, we arrive at a decision. And once the decision is taken, we have to have the skill plus a proper mind to carry out the action. So then you can understand, to have confidence, we need to have the knowledge, the ability to discriminate, the skill to carry out the action. And let us see what is the levels of knowledge we need to have to really become confident. And we can clearly understand there are three levels: the physical level, the mental level, and the spiritual level. And the physical level has two components, the material and the energy aspects. The mental level has two components, the intellectual and the emotional aspect. And the spiritual level is the pure awareness part. And then you have to have the skill at all the three levels to implement the knowledge you have. Now, in the modern day educational concept, we give importance only to material and intellectual level. All the other components are completely ignored. Hence what happens is, persons do not become capable of facing the real life situations. Because in real life, all the other components come in. And if these components we become incapable of handling, or we do not have the skill to handle those conditions, then we cannot really be confident to face each moment of our life. Yeah, this slide actually tells you of the need for the spiritual awareness in a more profound way. The lack of spiritual awareness is what caused the despondency of Arjuna. The Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter, explains how Arjuna became despondent when he came to the battlefield. You should understand Arjuna properly in the right perspective. Arjuna was the first rank student in his class. He was the pet student of his teacher. And he passed out with the first rank itself. So what he had the secular knowledge. He was skilled in archery. He had all the training he needed to be a good archer. Even in the wars he fought afterwards, he had won. Never been defeated that badly. And still when he came to the battlefield, that is the moment of his life, he lost confidence. And he even refused to fight. This is, and please appreciate, this is not a situation particular to or peculiar to Arjuna alone. You imagine a situation now where you have studied very well, you are expecting a university rank, you go to the examination hall, and then you get the question paper, you read the very first question, and somehow that question doesn't seem to be easy. Immediately what happens to you? You lose confidence.